So, greetings from the NHL Scouting Combine. I am joined by Dan Marr with NHL Central Scouting. You know, every year it seems like here in Buffalo we're talking about some of these top-end prospects. This year, I think we know who the guy is. So my question for you is, what makes Rasmus Dahlin such a special player?
He's pretty much a complete package, both on and off the ice. And he's got the skills and attributes to be considered the best player available for this draft. But it's the intangibles that go along with his character, his commitment, his work ethic, his leadership skills. I think that's what impresses the teams the most.
I know it's very, very tricky and sometimes unfair to both the prospect and to the current player to compare people. But I've seen the names thrown out. Erik Karlsson, Victor Hedman. We're talking about some elite NHL players. Is that fair?
It's never fair to put an 18-year-old on a pedestal.
Yeah.
There's no 18, 19-year-old going to come and win you a Stanley Cup. But he has the good parts of Karlsson's game, the good parts of Hedman's game packaged into his game. So whichever hockey club's going to add him to their roster, they're going to get a pretty special player for a number of years.
Off the top of your head, can you think of maybe another defenseman who has recently come out with maybe this much potential or hype? Because to me, I really can't. I know Ekblad was a big deal a couple years ago, but this seems like it's almost a different level.
Yeah, since Ekblad and Seth Jones, there hasn't been a defenseman of this caliber, and he's a well-known commodity. He's been tracked for over 3 years now, and he is the real deal. And like I said, the hockey fans in the city that he lands are going to be quite pleased and enjoying coming to the rink.
I know Sabres fans absolutely love to hear that. How about the draft as a whole? Big picture. You know, the Sabres have a lot of high picks where they're slotted. Can you get a nice player in the second and the third round this year? Is it a deep draft or is it a top-heavy draft?
It's a deep draft in the sense that once you get going from, I would say, like anywhere from 15 to 40, there's not a big spread in the caliber of players, but there's a real good top-end mix of 50 to 60 players. You know, starts when you get to the middle rounds there, it starts to drift off a little bit there. But the depth for this year's draft is pretty good as far as the number of quality prospects that have a chance to have good, long NHL careers.
So when you say that 15 to 40 is kind of a crapshoot, the Sabres could be getting a guy at 32 that maybe some teams, you know, aren't so highly on, or they could be, you know, they could be really, really high on, I guess.
They're definitely going to get a player that they have ranked higher in their first round when it gets to the second round, because you have 31 teams have 31 different lists, different philosophies in play here. So the more picks you have in the top 3 rounds, this is a good draft year where you can stock your cupboard.
Do you realize how excited Sabres fans are probably getting watching this video? Do you realize that?
Sabres fans are always excited. Like, they're always the best. There's always a good energy. Anytime, anything we do in Buffalo here at the Harbor Center, over at KeyBank Center, there's always just a good vibe in Buffalo.
Well, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. So now next year we know all the players we got to highlight when you set out your lists, your midterm rankings, your final rankings. Those are normally the names we have highlighted. Hopefully next year, the guy the Sabres take isn't so high up on the list, I guess. For Dan, I'm Matt. We'll send it back inside to you.